Now that we have seen how to remove the trackers, let's take care about the green screen itself. During a shooting, it's almost impossible to have a perfectly uniform green screen. Because of the lights, you will always have visible hotspots and soft shadows. Even when it's very well lit, like this shot that you are seeing in the viewer. Maybe for some of you it might look quite uniform, but let me show you that it's not. If I create a grade node and I play with the gamma and the gain, you will see what I mean. As you can see here, we have a hot spot made by the light and also some soft shadows here and there. We can even see trackers here, here and here. Most of the time these little differences are totally acceptable and don't disturb the process of the keying. I can even say that this shot is very well lit and should be quite easy to do. But what if we can turn this green screen into a perfectly uniform one? This is exactly the process that I'm about to show you right now. So before doing anything, let's try to understand what we need to do. Here what we want is a uniform green color. So what we need to do is to remove all those little differences that we have in the background. In order to achieve that, the first thing we need to do is to set a reference color for the green. For that, I'm gonna create a constant node and pick a color in the background. It can be anywhere as soon as it's green. Now, if we subtract this color to our image, we shall remain with the difference that we want to extract. Create a merge node and put the operation on from. Now what we see, it's precisely the little differences that we want to remove. Here, for example, it's the hotspot, or here, the trackers. So now that we have extracted those differences, we need to subtract them to our original image. Here, create again a merge node and set the operation to from. And voila! We have now a perfectly uniform background. The problem is that we have also removed our foreground, and this is not exactly what we wanted to do. Here the trick is to find a way to remove the differences only in the background and not in the foreground. For this, we're gonna create a clean plate with the help of IBK color. I will first disconnect this, pressing Ctrl, Shift and X and put it on the side. Now I'm gonna create an IBK color. Be careful to take the IBK color and not the IBK gizmo. And set the screen type to green and the size to 1. Now usually what I do is to increase the value of the dark reds until the green screen breaks, like this. See, now the green screen is breaking. Also, we clearly see that our trackers are gonna be a problem. If it's possible, it's always better to remove them before. Fortunately now, we know some good techniques to do it easily. Here I've already removed the tracker. Now we can continue. So with the tracker, we were here. And now if I add the roto paint, this is the result. As you can see, we have a better result if we can remove them before. Let's correct our value to fix the background. I guess here it should be okay. If you didn't watch the tutorial about the IBK stack technique from Tony Lyons, I suggest you to take a look at it before going any further. Here, instead of using the IBK stack technique, we're gonna use a little gizmo from Johannes Mazans called the Extend IBK. It works with the same logic as the stacked IBK, so it's important to understand the technique before using this gizmo. Also, what I like with this tool is that it's faster to render and easier to manipulate than multiple IBK stacked together. And for the coolest part, it is free and you will find the link in the description. So now I'm gonna call my Extend IBK tool and let me quickly show you how it works. Everything that you see here, here or here, it's like an IBK that you have stacked together. Let me put everything to 0 so I can show you. Changing the value of the blur option, can be this one, or this one for example, it's the same as if I change the patch black option in the IBK color. So as in the stack technique, we can now put a value of 2 here, 4, 8, 16, and 32. But because it's not enough, I'm gonna increase a little bit those values. I'm gonna put 32 here and 64 there. And it's still not okay, so I'm gonna increase it a bit until we fill the gap. Now we can fix a little bit our edges here by increasing the value of the erode in the IBK color. This should be fine. Alright, we are ready to subtract the reference color to our clean plate. I'm gonna reuse those. Once again, we have the differences that we want to remove from our original plate. So I'm gonna reuse this merge from. Alright, cool, this time we managed to preserve our foreground. But as you can see, it's still not okay. If I show you the before and after, our foreground is not completely preserved. For that, we're gonna need to create a quick mask to remove our foreground from our merge operation. The fastest way to create this mask is to do what we call a despill matte. So we're gonna first despill the image using a key light. Plug the source here and put the value of 1 in the green screen color. Now we should have a despilled image. Now what we need to do is to subtract this to our original image. So we're gonna get something that looks like kind of a silhouette. So create a merge, plug it here, and change the operation to from. And this is what we get. You see, it's kind of a silhouette. But normally alpha matte should be black and white. So we're gonna need to desaturate the image. I'm gonna use a saturation node and put the value at 0. Now if I want to use this as a matte, I'm gonna need a value close to 1 here. But as you can see, we are far from it. So in order to fix that, I'm gonna use a grade node and the white point value. But before doing it, let me quickly explain you why I use the white point. Basically what it does, it's dividing the value of the pixel by the value of the white point. Here we have a square that has a value of 0.5 and one that has a value of 0.1. So let's see what happens if I put 0.5 in the white point. Now here I have a value of 1 and here a value of 0.2. If we do the calculation, we have 0.5 divided by 0.5 and we get indeed 1. So the other one is 0.1 divided by 0.5 and we have 0.2. So that is correct. Let's try to put 0.1 now and see what happens. Everything looks white now, but if I lower the gain here, we should see our image again. Let's see our values. Here I have indeed 1. And now here I have 5. Let's do the calculation again. So 0.1 divided by 0.1, I have 1. This is correct. And 0.5 divided by 0.1, we have 5. So that means that everything is correct. We have the proof that the white point does a divide operation. Back on our dispill matte, if we check the values of our pixel around the head, we can see here that the values are kind of in between 0.20 and 0.25, let's say. With those values, it's gonna be very hard to have a perfect one. But the idea is to be as close as possible. So we can draw a square and select multiple pixels so we get an average of them. So let's create a grade node and pick a value for our white point. To draw a square, you just press Ctrl and Shift at the same time. And to avoid the flickering image, you press Ctrl, Shift and Alt at the same time. Now, if we check the values of our pixels, as you can see, we are close to 1. It's not perfectly 1, but we are close. And don't forget that maths or alpha needs to have a value between 0 and 1. So everything that is above 1 is not acceptable, neither values that are negative. So to fix that, we're gonna create a clamp and set the channels to RGBA. Now we don't have values that are above 1 or below 0 anymore. The mat is ready to be used, but don't forget that we want to use it as an alpha mat. And the problem here, if we take a look at the value of the pixels, we don't have any values in the alpha, but the values of the red grid and blue channel are the same. As we have seen in previous classes, we can specify to a node which channel we want to use. By default, if we plug the mask input, the mask is set to RGBA alpha. Here, because the value of the pixel are the same in each channel, we can choose either of them, but usually we use the red one. So let's take a look at the final image. If we check the before and after, as you can see now, we have a uniform background, but the foreground hasn't been touched. If I bring back my exaggerated grade, we're gonna see it even better. So here, the background is perfectly uniform. And before, it was like that. Unfortunately, we still have a big problem. If I zoom here, you're gonna see it way better. With our process, we have lost some hair details. And this is absolutely not okay. We need to find a way to preserve those little hairs. Also, if we come back to our exaggerated grade, you can see that here in our original background we have the grain. But now we lose those grain. So this is also why I usually degrain my plate before I do all this process. So I'm gonna do it before anything else. When we have created our clean plate, we didn't manage to select those tiny little details here. So when we extended the IBK, we got this result. Leaving those hair in the clean plate is the reason why we are losing them in the final process. To preserve them, we're gonna draw a garbage mask all around the head and stencil it right after the first IBK. We don't need to be very precise, the important thing is to keep all the hairs. In order to go faster for this presentation, I'm working on a still image, but in most cases your character will be moving. Because this is a garbage mask, you don't need to be very precise. So if you do a planar tracking and some manual correction on your shape, it should be enough to do the job. I'm gonna do the same for the hairs here. As we have seen in class number 4, I'm gonna put my roto right after the denoise, and I'm gonna create a channel for the mask. So the output on none, and I'm gonna create a new channel. This is a garbage. This is the type. The name of the element's gonna be hairs detail, and the channel is gonna be alpha. As I've said, we need to stencil right after the first IBK, so I mean here. So I'm gonna create a shuffle and call my channel. Here, the garbage hair details. And we're gonna use a merge node with a stencil operation. Let's see how it looks. Let me just close all of this so we have a better view. And this is our result. If we take a closer look, it seems that no little hairs have been left. So it should be okay. But if we go now to our extend IBK, we see that we have a little problem. We shouldn't have this kind of black edges here. And this is because if we take a look at our garbage mask, you see that we have a filtering in the image. It looks like it is anti-aliased. But if we take a look at our IBK color, as you can see here, we have hard edges, like if it was aliased. So we need to apply the same effect to our garbage mask. We can do that with a clamp node. So let me do a bit of room here and create a clamp. Here we select alpha for the channel, uncheck the minimum, check max clamp 2 and put the maximum to 0. And as you can see now, we have hard edges and it looks like it is aliased. So let's see what we get now. Here it's after the IBK. And now after the extend IBK, our problem is fixed. Now we can see our final image and check if we saved all the hairs. I think that this time, finally the job is properly done. It took a bit of time because I wanted to show you all the logic behind the process and how it works. When I came up with this technique some years ago, I wanted to create a tool to share with my fellow compositors. But before finishing it, I went to the internet to see if anybody has already done something like that. And yes, somebody did. And even more ridiculous, I had already installed it and I didn't even know about that. This tool has been made by Pixel Fudger and it's called Screen Clean. You can download it for free and of course I will leave the link in the description. The tool works with the exact same logic, but it's a little bit better than my technique, especially about the despill mat. Let me show you quickly how it works. So what we need here is a plate, so we can take this one. We also need the clean plate, so we have it here. So this is the clean plate. I'm gonna plug it here. And now we need to set the reference color here. So for that we can reuse the same. Here we can put it there. And that's it. Let's see the result. As you can see, now we have a perfectly uniform background. And because we have done the job in the clean plate to preserve the hairs, everything is here as well. We can compare both techniques to see if there is some differences. So this is mine and this is theirs. You see, we have a little trouble here with my despill mat, but everything looks the same. So now that you understand how the logic works, I strongly advise you to use this gizmo. There is one last thing I want to talk about. You might wonder why you should do all this job if in the beginning I've said that this shot was already well lit and so we can do a good and easy key. But if you work in a production, you will probably be assigned to a sequence. That means that you're gonna have like 5, 6 or even 10 shots that are quite the same. But if you pay attention shot by shot, even if they look alike, the green screen is never exactly the same. This is because between shots, maybe the DOP has moved a little bit the light, or maybe they move a little bit the camera, so the green screen is not at the same place anymore. So if you work on the key in one shot, you won't be able to copy the job to the other one. It's gonna be very difficult to make it work without any changes because all the green screen won't be exactly the same. This is where this technique is interesting, because if you prepare all your shot with the same uniform green color, that means that you can do the job one time and then copy paste to the other ones. Even if the result won't be perfect, you'll be able to have an acceptably good version 1. Let me show you what kind of result we can have if we do a quick key light. I'm gonna do it first on the original background, this one. As you can see, by sampling the region here, we are not able to create a clean alpha. But if I plug it to our uniform background, this is the result. Let me just update the sampling. And there you go. We can even try to put it over a background just to see how it looks like. There you go. If we compare this with our original plate, we get this result. This is a pretty acceptable first version, and in some cases, like for example if you are in a rush, this can be totally fine. I have finished to clean the green screen. Here what I've done is a planar tracking to track the face of the main character and the one that is on the left. Then I used the tracking to do my garbage mask. Here I've made several little pieces because it's easier to control. As you can see now, the masks are following our hairs. I have also tracked the tracking markers and removed them. Here we can see them in the red channel, and after the job it looks like that. I had a more problematic marker to remove. It was this one. Here. For this one I used this technique from Nukepedia that I've already showed you. The problem with this marker is that it goes behind the character. So thanks to this method, I have been able to remove it in a fast and easy way. Let's see the result. There you go. At the end, I have done the screen clean, and the job is done. This is the final result. As you can see, all our hair's details have been preserved. I've also done this version with another color so you can see it better. I agree that doing this process takes time and can be a bit annoying, but believe me, it is worthy, because all the job that we have done here with the clean plate is gonna be very useful for the next process I'm gonna show you. Thank you very much for watching. Just before leaving you, I would like to give you an information. This course is 100% free and I'm not paid for it. I really made it with the desire to share knowledge with you. But if you like to reward or support the job I've done, you can give me a tip by following the PayPal link in the description. Once again, thank you very much and see you soon.